Oh, okay.
I've learned that in my time. No.
Hey guys, welcome back to our Scamp Life. We are sitting here and thought we would do a little video on things that we've learned over this last year of camping that we should, or that we want to pass on to you if you're new to camping, things that you should probably know about camping. So I don't know how many we'll come up with here because we're literally just kind of coming up with these things as we go, but yeah, we'll get right into it. So first thing for me is actually something you should not do at a campground, and that is to dump your black water, your sewage tank, at your campsite, unless there's like a proper place. We have yet to be at a campground in Minnesota where they have complete full hookups where you can actually hook up your sewage tank. I'm sure they exist in Minnesota, we just haven't been to one yet where they have a dumping station right at your campsite. But we have been to campgrounds where people are clearly dumping their black water tanks right at their site. I'm sure it's because, you know, they've been using their bathroom a while, but you're just gonna have to hook up and go to the dump station because yeah, it's nasty. It's pretty nasty. So that's one thing that we've definitely learned. So plan, I guess, you know, on a positive note, plan ahead for that. You know, maybe if you've got a small tank like the Scamp camper does, just plan on doing just number one in that bathroom. So
Another one is that you got to make sure you all have privacy, because if you don't have privacy, you're not going to have enough. It's not going to be good. I don't know.
All right, that works.
I'm not that good.
It's all right.
For me, always bring 2 sweatshirts.
I learned that. Like, I hate wearing them.
Yeah, they get a little bit cooler, so especially if you're camping in Minnesota, just plan ahead clothes-wise, I guess. Make sure that, you know, you kind of plan for everything. So we're August right now, but it is still, it's been, so far been a cold August. We're only like, what, the 3rd or 4th of August, and it's already relatively cold. So we are up in Duluth, but still. So yeah, another another thing that we have learned while camping is to I gotta think about that.
I have a.
Okay, you.
Another thing is that make sure you all are comfortable in your camper, because if you're not comfortable in your camper, it's not going to be comfortable for other people.
Yeah, so if you're that's a great one, kiddo. If you're looking for your first camper and you don't really know what you want, take the time to look around. There are camper dealers everywhere, and with the economy kind of coming back in the last few years here, they've been coming out of the woodwork. People selling campers, people flipping campers, buying new campers. I think they're at like an all-time high for camper sales, or at least higher than it's been in a very long time. So you can go, you can walk through all these things, lay on the bed. Don't feel bad about really seeing if this is somewhere that you're actually going to want to spend some time in. So when we were looking at the Scamp, we knew that we needed something that could be towed by our current tow vehicle, but we also wanted something that was going to be comfortable for the 3 of us and have a little bit of extra room. So for the 3 of us, or even 4 people, this camper would work. But we actually just had a family stop by with the husband, wife, and then 3 kids earlier this morning and take a look. And our setup here probably wouldn't work for them because we can really only sleep 4 people comfortably.
Oh, I got one. Anytime you go camping, bring a pen and paper with, because there will always be something that you're like, oh, this would be really nice. And then you won't have to keep it in mind. You can, you know, have it on paper. So next time you're like, ooh, this is luxurious.
And there's another one. Make sure you always like have something, like something to keep you busy.
Like what?
Like a game or like activity or something to keep you occupied. If there's nothing to do that you can find out how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like this weekend for us here in Duluth is, so far it's been a pretty wet weekend. So we're planning on spending probably more time in the camper. That's why we're doing this video right now. There's a break in the weather. So yeah, bring with extra games, have some stuff in there just in case you end up getting stuck inside your camper for the remainder of your trip. That way you don't feel like it's a total loss. You can kind of relax as a family. Another thing is be flexible with the interior of your camper. So remember that, especially in this day and age, at a dollar store, there's all kinds of really small bins that won't work maybe for household situations, maybe for, you know, a dorm room or something like that, but they work perfect for a camper. So just plan ahead a little bit and keep it flexible, where we're still learning what works in this camper and what doesn't. There's stuff that we've had in the camper that we realize we don't use it all, and so we've taken out, and there's other things that we've put back in. And at this point, we've only owned this camper for about a year, so we've already done some transitioning with adding, taking away, whatever, storage options. So just be flexible with that going in. Know that you probably will not find your 100% end-all to end-all perfect camper solutions right off the bat.
Another one is have fun.
That's a great one. Maybe that one deserves a repeat.
Have fun. Have fun. Have fun. Have fun. Have fun. Have fun. Shorthand.
Got another one, huh?
Oh yes. I was talking about the list of things to add to your camper. One thing that's on our list is to put a plastic boot tray underneath our refrigerator.
Da boot.
Das boot.
Das Boot.
Das boot.
Because if anything spills in our refrigerator, then the plastic boot tray can catch it and not the carpet.
And along those lines, something that we learned with our little refrigerator is obviously we can't fit a gallon jug in our refrigerator. We could, but then we wouldn't fit much of anything else in there. So we've been looking for container solutions that'll sit on their side and not leak the milk on the bottom. We think we found it. It's actually like a Tropicana container. So we bought the container, or it wasn't Tropicana.
Nalgene.
Yeah, a Nalgene bottle works perfect. So depending on the size of your family and how much of each fluid you think you're going to go through, those Nalgene bottles, or maybe one similar, but the Nalgene just really seems to have a good seal. So pick yourself up some of those for your little refrigerator. They come in handy.
Mm-hmm. And don't get hurt.
And don't get hurt. Another thing that we have learned from camping is that there are some people at campsites that are really friendly and they want to talk, and so they'll talk to you. There's other people that want to keep to themselves, so just keep that in mind. If somebody seems really overly rude, it might not be that they're rude, they just want to enjoy their little vacation kind of by themselves. That's why maybe they're here versus being at a hotel or something like that. So another one, also, if you are looking at your campsite, a lot of campgrounds have a picture looking into your campsite, so you can kind of get a rough idea of how secluded your site is versus how open it is. And by all means, if you really want a secluded site, call. Just simply call and ask. And or sometimes they'll say, hey, can you send us an email? We'll send somebody, especially like a state park. Somebody new to that state park might not know what each individual campsite looks like, but they can send you back an email and say, yeah, it's really well secluded, and it's a pretty awesome site.
What does that mean?
Secluded means you're kind of by yourself,
and
it's like covered in. So
secluded.
What else have we learned about our Scamp? Another thing that we've learned while our little camping deal here is that it is very important to have coffee. Make sure that you have that you get a coffee maker of some sort. Some people use the little single serve Keurigs. We just found a little small 4-cup coffee maker, and buy all your stuff secondhand for your camper. Don't worry about buying it brand new from the store. You're going to pay, maybe as much as 10 times the cost. I think our coffee maker was like $2 at a thrift store, and it works perfectly. So, just go to a thrift store, go to a secondhand store, go to a dollar store, those sorts of things. Some of our other videos talk a little bit about that. So,
I think that's really all.
What else have we learned? We've also learned if you have a pet, make sure that pet has if they're a barker. Like our dog Banks, he's not with us this weekend because we weren't planning on spending a lot of time at the campsite. We might be spending more than we thought, but pets are allowed here, but they've kind of got some restrictions on what you can and can't do anyways. So anyway, so he's home with a sitter, and that sounds weird. He's home with a sitter, but he is. And
A dog sitter.
a dog sitter.
Somebody that sits on the dog.
A house sitter who's watching the dog. There, that sounds more manly.
Manly?
Dogs with a sitter.
No. That's a woman's line.
Oh,
It needs more power.
More power. So, what was I saying now?
Pets.
Oh yeah, pets. So make
like
sure that if your dog is a barker, that you have some sort of a bark collar with, because there's nothing more rude than taking your dog out of your car to let him go to the bathroom and he starts barking at every single dog at like 6 o'clock in the morning. So just kind of be conscientious of people in the campground, in the campsite. And that's really, that's whether you have a camper or a tent or whatever. It doesn't matter what you're using, big or small camper. Just try to be conscientious of that sort of a thing.
You should explain why we put the dog in the car. Or I can.
Go for it.
I don't like dog hair everywhere, and so our dog isn't allowed in the Scamp. So we have a little crate that he sleeps
It's
in.
not a little crate. It's a big crate.
A little crate.
No, a little.
I know, that's what she did. We have a little crate.
No, it's
Shove 'em into.
It's a super big crate. It's a super big crate.
Anyway.
Anyway,
Wait,
he sleeps in that in the van at night.
and sometimes in the day if he really wants to.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm sure that there are many other things that we are going to learn in using our Scamp. We've only had a camper now for 1 year. This is our first family camper, and we're just kind of learning as we go. Oh, something else I did learn. Sitting right behind me here is our spare tire. Check your spare tire. I had not checked it yet this season, and we're on what, camping trip number 5?
More than that, I think.
6, 7 maybe, one of those, 5 to 7, and I realized, hey, I never checked the spare tire. Turns out it didn't even register on the little tire gauge. So just double check that, before you leave for a trip, and you should be good for the season once you check it once. But just be sure. So I'm sure that there's other stuff that we're going to learn. We're probably going to have another one of these videos, but for now, those are some quick tips and tricks and things, I guess, that we've learned while being out in our Scamp. And so hopefully that helps you out. We're also going to be doing a Scamp buying guide, things that we've learned about buying a Scamp, things to look for and stuff like that. So tune in, guys. Once again, thank you, and hit that like and subscribe button down below. God bless.
Subscribe.